Hi everyone! Today's video is a powerful journey into one of the most transformative ideas inspired by Dr. Joe Dispenza: how to reprogram your energy in just 21 days. If you've been feeling stuck in the same emotional patterns, repeating the same reactions, or living inside this same version of yourself over and over again, this might be the most important video you watch this month. We're going to break down exactly why your energy creates your life, and how changing that energy, step by step, can create a completely different future for you. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because here we go deep, emotionally, scientifically, and spiritually, to help you transform your inner world. If you love content based on Dr. Joe Dispenza's teachings, manifestation, identity shifting, and consciousness work, then you're in the right place, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Also, check the first pinned comment. I left links to Dr. Joe's essential books so you can expand even more on today's topic. Now, let's begin this 21-day energetic reset. Your energy is your life. Why you keep repeating the same emotional past. Welcome to the beginning of a 21-day journey that can truly change the way you think, feel, and live. Before we get into techniques, routines, and the daily structure of this transformation, we need to start with the most important truth Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches. Your energy is creating your life. Not your wishes, not your plans, not your vision board. Your energy. And your energy is nothing more than the combination of your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors repeated over and over again until they become your personal reality. Dr. Joe says something incredibly simple but deeply confronting. Your personality creates your personal reality. And your personality is made of 3 ingredients: how you think, how you act, and how you feel. When these 3 don't change, your life cannot change. And that's where most people unknowingly get stuck. Most of us live in a kind of emotional autopilot. Science shows that about 95% of who we are by the age of 35 is a set of memorized habits, automatic emotional reactions, conditioned thoughts, and unconscious behaviors. Meaning, you can wake up in the morning wanting change, dreaming of change, planning for change, but if internally nothing shifts, by the afternoon, you are the same person you were yesterday. Your brain fires the same neural pathways, your body produces the same chemistry, your nervous system returns to the same emotional baseline, and you end up repeating the same day as before, just with a different date on the calendar. This is what Dr. Joe calls living in the past. Not because you consciously choose the past, but because your body has memorized it so deeply that it doesn't know how to live any differently. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever promised yourself a new start, a new mindset, new habits, a new way of reacting, and then within hours or days, you felt pulled back into old patterns? It wasn't because you're weak. It wasn't because you don't want change enough. And it definitely wasn't because you're broken. It was because the chemistry of old emotions was stronger than your intentions. Your survival emotions, stress, fear, frustration, insecurity, self-doubt, comparison, anxiety, produce chemicals that your body literally becomes addicted to, not metaphorically, biologically. And so your body waits for the familiar emotional hit that confirms your old identity. When it doesn't get it, it sends signals to your brain to trigger the thoughts that will recreate it. You might recognize this cycle. You're calm, and suddenly your mind starts searching for something to worry about. You're happy, and an inner voice whispers, "This won't last." You're trying to feel confident, and your mind pulls memories of times you failed. You're dreaming bigger, and old fears suddenly show up as logical reasons. That's not intuition. That's not reality. That's the old emotional self trying to stay alive. Dr. Joe explains it like this: the body becomes the mind, meaning your body, your chemistry, your emotional memory, begins to think for you. It becomes the one running your consciousness. And this is why people repeat the same cycles in relationships, career, health, and self-worth. It's not because life is against you. It's because your energy has been rehearsing the same emotional past for years, sometimes decades. Your thoughts might want change. Your intentions might want change. But your nervous system is still broadcasting the same frequency of the person you were yesterday. And in an energetic universe, which both spirituality and neuroscience agree on, you cannot attract a new reality while broadcasting the frequency of the old self. Let me put it simply, the way I know you'll feel it. Your life is not stuck. Your energy is. And nothing external will shift until the internal energy that creates your life begins to shift. This is why Dr. Joe's work is so transformative. He doesn't ask you to change your circumstances. He teaches you to change you. The version of yourself that your brain and body have memorized, the emotional patterns that have become automatic, the internal chemistry that determines how you think, feel, act, and manifest. He teaches that you cannot create a new future while holding on to the emotions of your past. You cannot step into abundance while feeling unworthy. You cannot experience love while living in fear of abandonment. You cannot manifest confidence while rehearsing self-doubt every morning. You cannot change your life while waking up as the same energetic frequency day after day. This is why the 21-day journey we're about to start is so powerful, because the moment you change your energy, your thoughts, your emotions, your internal frequency, you stop living from your past identity and you begin signaling a new future. And that's when life starts responding differently. Remember, energy is the language the universe responds to. When your energy changes, your life must change. There's no other option. This first block is your wake-up call. You are not stuck because life is unchangeable. You're stuck because your energy, your emotional baseline, your internal chemistry, your repeated thoughts hasn't moved yet. But it can. It will. And over the next 21 days, you are going to learn step by step how to break the emotional addiction to your past identity and reprogram a new energetic signature that aligns with your desired life. Your new reality begins with your new energy. And today is the moment that shift starts. 2. Breaking the habit of being the old you, day 1 to day 7. The first 7 days of this 21-day transformation are not about building a new you yet. They are about something even more important, becoming aware of the old you, the one running your life on autopilot. Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches that real change doesn't start with trying harder. It starts with seeing the thoughts you didn't notice, seeing the emotional patterns you repeat, seeing the unconscious identity you've been rehearsing for years. Because you cannot break a habit you are not aware of. Most people think their struggles come from outside, a stressful job, financial pressure, relationship pain, old memories, new problems. But when they slow down, when they sit with themselves, when they stop distracting their mind, something powerful becomes clear. The real problem is internal repetition. You think the same 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts every day. You feel the same emotions. You have the same internal reactions. And your brain keeps firing the same neural circuitry it has been firing for decades. The first week is about exposing this automatic self, the version of you that is not consciously chosen, but chemically memorized. The emotional addictions you don't know you have. Dr. Joe says that most people are chemically addicted to the emotions they say they don't want. You say you want peace, but your body is addicted to stress. You say you want confidence, but your body is addicted to insecurity. You say you want freedom, but your body is addicted to guilt and self-judgment.
You say you want change, but your body is addicted to the predictability of the old emotional self. This happens because emotions release chemicals, and the body becomes so used to them that it begins craving what is familiar even when it's painful. And so the moment you try to feel different, the body pulls you back. You try to think bigger, your old anxiety returns. You try to stay calm, your old triggers reappear. You try to detach, your mind replays old scenarios. You try to heal, and suddenly you remember every reason you've been hurt. During days 1 to 7, your job is not to fight these emotions, but to notice them, to observe how each one pulls you into the old identity. It's not about fixing, it's about recognizing. Because the moment you can see the habit, you are no longer completely controlled by it. Interrupting the thought loops that keep you stuck. Dr. Joe says something that changes everything. Your brain is a record of the past, meaning every time you think the same thought, you are reaffirming the same identity. Every time you anticipate the same problem, you are reliving the past. Every time you mentally prepare for rejection, failure, or disappointment, you are practicing a future that looks exactly like yesterday. So in this first week, we begin interrupting these loops. You wake up and instead of immediately entering the old emotional state, the stress, the rush, the worry, you pause, you breathe, you observe, you notice the first anxious thought, the first self-critical voice, the first moment your body tightens, the first impulse to check your phone, the first familiar emotional trigger. Instead of reacting automatically, you interrupt the pattern. Instead of believing the thought, you witness it. Instead of obeying the emotion, you breathe through it. Instead of becoming the old self, you interrupt the chemical chain that keeps that identity alive. This week is about breaking the habit of being yourself, the old self, by seeing it clearly. Becoming aware of the identity wired into your body. By this point in your life, your body has become a physical reflection of your past. If for 10, 20, or 30 years you've been rehearsing the same emotional patterns, they've become stored in your muscles, your breath, your heart rate, your nervous system, your posture, your facial expression, your tone of voice, even your biology. Dr. Joe explains that the body has memorized the emotional past so deeply that it can live your entire day without needing your conscious mind. This first week is about reversing that hierarchy. Instead of the body being the master and the mind being the follower, you begin making the mind the master again. How? Through awareness, through interruption, through presence, through breath. Breaking the state through breathwork. One of the fastest ways to interrupt the old identity is through breathwork. Breath is the bridge between the unconscious body and the conscious mind. In Dr. Joe's teachings, breathwork disrupts the stress response, breaks the emotional momentum of the past, and opens the door to a new internal state. When you change your breath, you change your chemistry. When you change your chemistry, you break the emotional addiction. When you break the emotional addiction, you stop reinforcing the old self. Even 1 minute of conscious breathing can interrupt hours of unconscious emotional repetition. During this week, breathing becomes your reset button, your return to awareness, your reminder that you are no longer living automatically. The core principle of week 1. Dr. Joe repeats this truth again and again. You cannot create a new future while living in the emotions of the past. This is the guiding idea for days 1 through 7. Your job is not to become the new you yet,
not mentally, not energetically, not spiritually. Your job is to stop feeding the old you. The first week is detox, emotional detox, energetic detox, identity detox. You detach from the old frequency. You weaken the emotional addictions. You interrupt the neurological loops. You stop rehearsing the past. And for the first time in a long time, you create space for a new identity to exist. The goal of this week is simple. Become conscious of the unconscious self. Break the habit of being the old you and clear the internal room where the new you will begin to grow. 3. Reconditioning your body to a new mind. Day 8 to day 14. The second week of this 21-day transformation marks a turning point. If the first 7 days were about breaking the chemical habits of the past, days 8 to 14 are about installing the emotional and neurological foundations of the future. This is where you stop fighting against the old self and begin actively rehearsing the new one. Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches that true transformation is not intellectual, it is embodied. You cannot think your way into a new life. You must feel your way into it. You must recondition the body, the place where your past has been stored, to become aligned with a new mind. This week is the emotional heart of your journey, where the body begins to resist, and why that is a good sign. By now, you have interrupted old emotional patterns and observed the unconscious reactions that used to control your day without your permission. But as you start moving toward a new internal state, the body begins to revolt. It whispers, "This isn't safe. This isn't familiar. This isn't who we are." This resistance is not a failure. It is evidence of change. It is the body's chemical memory trying to pull you back into the identity it has mastered for years. When you feel doubt, fatigue, irritability, anxiety, or that sudden desire to quit, you are witnessing the old emotional program losing power. This discomfort is a milestone, the border between the familiar past and the unfamiliar future. Dr. Joe explains that your body must move from being the anchor of your past to becoming the instrument of your future. That transition feels like emotional friction, and yet it is exactly what allows the old circuitry to dissolve and new neural pathways to form. Introducing elevated emotions, the language of the future. Survival emotions like fear, worry, shame, anger, and stress belong to the past because they are tied to memories of what has already happened. But elevated emotions belong to the future because they are tied to possibilities that have not yet occurred. Gratitude, joy, freedom, love, inspiration, wholeness. These emotions carry a different electromagnetic signature. They shift your chemistry, your heart rhythm, your brain waves, your energetic field. They lift you out of the limited identity of the old self and align you with the larger, expansive version of who you are becoming. Dr. Joe calls gratitude the ultimate state of receivership. Why? Because the body cannot feel grateful for something unless it believes it has already happened. So when you rehearse gratitude for your future as if it is already real, you turn a mental intention into a biological reality. This week, you train your body to experience elevated emotions every single day, on purpose, with intensity, and with repetition, until these feelings become your new baseline. Rehearsing the new state daily. Just as the old you was practiced unconsciously for years, the new you must be rehearsed consciously and deliberately. You begin each day by installing the version of yourself you want to become. How does this new self think? How does this new self feel? How does this new self act? What choices does this new self make? What inner dialogue defines this new identity? Visualization is not about imagining a future event. It's about embodying a future self. Dr. Joe emphasizes that mental rehearsal changes the brain, but emotional rehearsal changes the body. When thought and emotion align, they create coherence, and coherence is the frequency that the quantum field responds to. You are, quite literally, broadcasting a new signal. Every time you feel an elevated emotion while holding the image of your future, you strengthen the neural networks associated with that identity. You wire the brain to expect that future and train the body to believe it is already real. Feeling the future before it arrives? This is the central teaching of week 2. Your body must emotionally experience the future before it happens physically. People think things will change when the new relationship arrives, when the money comes in, when the health returns, when the opportunity appears. But Dr. Joe teaches that the order is reversed. First, you feel the elevated emotion. Then your biology begins to shift. Then your energy expands. Then you enter a new frequency. Then the external world reorganizes around that inner change. Feeling the future is not fantasy. It is biological programming. It is signaling new genes, suppressing old ones, altering hormone levels, shifting brainwave patterns, and expanding your heart's electromagnetic field. This week, feeling becomes your greatest tool. Repetition plus emotion equals rewiring. The old self was memorized through repetition of familiar emotions. The new self is installed through repetition of elevated emotions. Every time you return to gratitude, joy, freedom, compassion, or love, you are firing and wiring new neural connections. You are training your body to prefer the chemical signature of the future over the chemical addiction of the past. Repetition makes the unfamiliar familiar. Emotion makes it powerful. Consistency makes it real. By day 14, something begins to shift. The new emotional state no longer feels forced. It feels natural, authentic, stabilized. The body starts to relax into this new identity as if it has always belonged there. Transformation becomes energetic, not mental. By the end of week 2, you understand something profound. Transformation is not about thinking positively or forcing a new attitude. It is about changing your energy and therefore changing your biology. This is where Dr. Joe's work becomes unmistakably powerful. You are no longer trying to overcome the old self. You are no longer analyzing the past. You are no longer battling internal resistance. You are now conditioning the body and brain to become a living expression of your future. You are shifting from survival emotions to elevated emotions. You are entering states of coherence, and you are finally becoming emotionally aligned with the life you want to create. 4. Becoming your future self, day 15 to day 21. The final week of your 21-day transformation is not about practicing anymore. It's about becoming. The work you've done so far, breaking emotional patterns, reconditioning the body, rehearsing elevated states, has prepared you for this moment, stepping fully into the identity of your future self. Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches that the quantum field responds not to what you want, not to what you hope for, but to who you are being. And during days 15 to 21, you begin to live from that truth. This is the stage where you move from intention to embodiment, from effort to alignment, from becoming to being. Embodying the identity of the future self. At this point, you are no longer fighting the old self. You're inhabiting the new one. You start your days not by trying to fix anything, but by aligning with the emotional signature of the person you are becoming. You ask yourself, how does my future self feel when they wake up? What emotions define their baseline? How do they walk, breathe, speak?
choose, and respond. What is the energy they bring into every room? And then you become that energy. Instead of visiting the future self during meditation, you begin to carry them into your daily life. You embody their confidence, their clarity, their freedom. You express their gratitude, their certainty, their coherence. The more you embody this identity, the less effort it takes. Identity replaces intention. Being replaces becoming. Meditating on the version of you who already lives the new life. Meditation in this final week shifts from transformation to confirmation. You're no longer trying to break the old emotional past. You've done that. You're no longer rehearsing the new self. You've learned how. Now your meditation becomes a daily reunion with the version of you who already exists in the quantum field. You sit with their energy. You feel their emotional baseline. You connect with their elevated heart and coherent mind. You align with their frequency until there is no separation between future and now. Dr. Joe explains that when you hold a coherent internal state long enough, the quantum field organizes around that signal. You stop chasing outcomes. You begin attracting them. Not because you demanded, but because your energy finally matched your desire. Acting from elevated, coherent energy. By now, you've learned something most people never discover. Your energy is your life. Your choices come from your emotional state. Your behaviors come from your identity. Your opportunities come from your frequency. Your reality mirrors your vibration. During this final stage, coherent energy becomes your operating system. Instead of reacting from survival, stress, fear, frustration, you choose to act from elevated states: gratitude, love, freedom, wholeness, compassion, joy. These emotions put you in a biochemical condition where you can access creativity, intuition, and synchronicity. You begin moving through the world with a heart that is open and a mind that is clear, and life starts responding in ways you could never force through effort alone, creating neural pathways that make change permanent. Transformation becomes permanent when your brain and body work together to support the new identity. This week, every repetition strengthens the neurological networks associated with your future self. Every elevated emotion reinforces the hormonal patterns of your new baseline. Every consistent action wires the behavior of a new personality. This is no longer about trying to change. By day 21, your biology becomes a match to the life you've been rehearsing. You are literally living with a new brain, a new emotional chemistry, a new electromagnetic field, a new identity. And because your personality creates your personal reality, your environment must shift to reflect this internal evolution. Connecting with the quantum field through alignment. This is the essence of Dr. Joe's work. You don't connect to the quantum field through repetition or desire. You connect through coherence. A coherent heart, a coherent mind, a coherent emotional signature. When your energy is elevated and aligned, you stop sending mixed signals into the field. You become a clear broadcast, a singular frequency, a stable identity. And the quantum field responds. Synchronicities increase, paths open, ideas arrive, opportunities appear, people show up. Not because you manifested them, but because you matched them. The final realization. As this 21-day journey comes to an end, one truth becomes undeniable. Your new life is not something you manifest. It is something you become. You don't chase your future. You embody it. You don't try to force outcomes. You align with them. You don't wait for your life to change so you can feel different. You feel different so your life can change. This is what Dr. Joe has been teaching all along. When you change your energy, you change your life. The version of you that you have been practicing, feeling, rehearsing, visualizing, and embodying is not in the future anymore. They are here. You have become them, and your life is now reorganizing around that new identity. Your transformation is not something you completed. It is something you activated, and it will continue as long as you choose the energy of your future self every day.
And if you reached the end of this journey with me, there's one book I truly recommend you read next, Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. If this video opened something inside you, if it made you feel that changing your energy is not only possible, but happening, this book will take you even deeper. It explains the science, the practices, and the real transformations behind everything we talked about today. I left the link in the first pinned comment, so you can start exploring it whenever you feel ready. This book genuinely changes lives, and if you're here right now, you're already stepping into the version of you who's ready for it.